There's a new year coming. I woke up. I was sleeping. I woke up. I have church to go to today, and I need to make something to take to potluck. Potlatch. Giving the gift of food prepared by your own hands with all those love ingredients. The celebration of this day has always been a pretty big deal for me. I would have had to be there, I guess. You pull out pictures. I'm sure there's people that are going to have memories pop up on their pages today in their social media. My family celebrating at my house with the kids, Easter egg hunting. Everybody would get a bag of eggs from wherever and stuff them and bring them for dinner on Easter Sunday. There's a lot of people that are going around with the whole pagan holiday thing, and that's cool. It's true. However, when you say that you're not going to celebrate, you are feeding into the paganism, because we have to be praying against it, and we have to have our hearts all pointed in that direction against it. So on those days, see, this is where I get in trouble. I spent several years with an amazing human being who was Jehovah's Witness. Now, that's a label. I don't like labels. If you go back in my history of my social media, you will see that I'm pretty consistent. I haven't done an update on the current situation with the destruction of my family. Destroy the family, you destroy a nation. Well, there's an entire nation that's coming out of me. Now, you guys can think that that's ego. You can think that that's pride. You can think that I'm somebody and not think I'm better than. No, absolutely not. But my social media history has been pretty consistent. When a narcissist recognizes that you are a loyal individual, a consistent individual, and a person that doesn't give up, tenacious is what my mom, peculiar is a biblical term. Yeah, peculiar is in the Bible. Before there was dictionaries, the word peculiar. But it could be either in Hebrew, it could be in Greek, it could be in Latin, it could be in Aramaic. It's the same word. You just don't spell it the same. Golly, you guys. Everybody's making things way more complicated than they have to be, because some guy wrote a book about turning words into things that they don't mean. Well, you know what? This has been going on since the tree and the serpent. And I heard another guy the other day dissecting cursed to crawl on his belly. Cursed to crawl on his belly. Yes, Christ is risen. He is risen. He's risen every day. He rose that one day. That day. Just that day. That's the only day ever, ever, ever. Do we observe it today? Yes, but some of us get it every day. Yes, I'm emotional. Yes, I cry. Yes, I have a tender heart. Yes, I get angry. Yes, I say bad words. I cuss. I say things I shouldn't say. Don't you? When I tried to speak up and defend myself, the words that I did get out were twisted by the whole group ganging up on me. They all know each other. They all work together. They've all been there. And I went to stand up and speak. And I had prepared because I was told to by my lawyer. So I did. Well, that backfired. I was given no defense. Nobody stood in front of me and said, "Let the one among you without sin cast a stone at her." Of course, some of the versions and the translations of the Holy Bible have omitted that verse. People reading out of this book and that book and this book and the other book and this translation and that translation and the other translation. You twisted it. There's missing verses. There's changed words. It matters. Consistent, neurodivergent, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Cadence, common. Common sense. There can't be common sense if there's no common. A house divided shall not stand. See, shall I get my Bible out and look it up? Because it's in there. It's in 3 different books that I'm aware of. Matthew, Mark, and John, if I'm not mistaken, all have their own version of what Jesus said about a house divided. Jesus said it. Abraham Lincoln did a speech on it. I've been doing this for decades, and I'm hearing oh man. Co-parenting. I'm the one that's been villainized. I have video recordings. I have photographs. Look at the entire stream of communication on our devices, just purely between my husband and I. Did I say things I shouldn't have said? Yes. Was I angry? Yes. Did I react to just complete blackout? See, the problem is that I collapsed with the complete blackout when I was by myself with the 2 children. Collapsed. But now he's got him, and I'm still on complete blackout, and he's under orders. It's coming. I want satisfaction, God. Jesus, my Savior, my Redeemer, my Lord, you know. You paid it. You took it right there. People wonder why I cry. People wonder why I'm sad. People wonder why. An awful lot of pictures of the torture that he went through, flashing right on through all the social media streams. The torture that he went through. Digitally recreated to stream through your feeds. A movie, actors, dialogue, and soundtracks, and music scores, and stunt doubles. There are real flesh and blood, honest to God, 2 little people. 4 little people, 6 little people. That need peopling. to stop peopling and adults to step into the room and really take a minute. Because when you're making life decisions for children, little pictures have big ears. And they grow up. My decisions that I made. Parenting is a marathon, not a sprint. If you're going into parenting thinking that it's going to be over tomorrow, well, your little life of instant gratification and instant whatever is about to get shattered. Wisdom of Solomon. Splitting the baby. Look it up. The last 7 months, no one has cared whether I ate, whether I slept, whether I was healthy, whether I was sick. April 3rd, April 4th, I have a video. My mother, trying to convince me that I'm loved by my genetics. She spent her whole life trying to convince herself that people that do not know love loved her, loved me. Mom, I love you, miss you. Bells in your braking systems. She was in hospice care this time last year. I wanted to go to her. All I wanted to do was just go to her. I just wanted to go to her. And I couldn't because my brain could not function enough for me to fix my own truck. But he had the parts that I had committed to paying for and paying for gas. He showed up 3 days after she died. He showed up 3 days after she died. And had it fixed in 30 minutes. I've been asking for the children to come and go to church with me today for months. I've seen them once, January 20th, when he brought his girlfriend to come and collect the children's personal things because I wanted them to have their things and because I didn't want to keep walking by their empty beds and seeing all of their stuff. They're allowed to tell their story however they want to tell it, but I have a story too. And everybody's twisted it and turned it into something that it just isn't, and it never was, and I'm just not that person. And they can say and do whatever it is they want, but who's telling my babies about Jesus is risen? I made a commitment. Little boy and little girl, and Mama interrupted. But we did get through a lot for the 2 years that we were in complete isolation and blackout. And the only reason he showed up was if it benefited him. I've taken the words that taking what she's had to say. She's allowed to say whatever it is she wants to say, but that doesn't mean she's telling the truth. But does she even know the truth? No. She's not old enough to be able to understand, comprehend, or wrap her brain around all of it. She just takes it all personal because she's a kid. Kids are supposed to be narcissistic. It's how they survive. Adults are supposed to know better. When you know better, you do better. Well, if you refuse to accept better and you just want to eat a pile of crap, I was going to open my Bible and read. I'm going to go get some coffee and you guys can go along with me on the journey and how I figure out what Bible I'm going to read or what part of the Bible. Maybe I'll just let it flop open and read that. I'll go get some coffee at the middle of the night. I got to go to church tomorrow. Well, today. People don't understand my schedule. It's not an intentional schedule. None of my schedule is ever intentional. When pain wakes you up, when cramping wakes you up, when burning sensations wake you up, you wake up and you try to figure out, why am I awake? What is it you need me to do now? Uh-oh. What is it you need me to do now? The Galatians, the epistle of Paul, the apostle to the Galatians. I'm still not done with Romans, but Galatians chapter 1. Grief over erroneous teaching in the church. Galatians chapter 1. Grief over erroneous teaching in the church. I have had much grief over this for decades because some of those erroneous teachings did great damage. But people want to look at me as though I committed all of those atrocities. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. Evidently, my beautiful little amazing inspirations are doing well in school. Of course they are. I raised them. Of course they are. I educated them. Of course they are. I take credit for that. Without God, I wouldn't have been able to do any of this. So, I recall when my grandson, my first grandson, was born, snotting and crying while he was over him and putting my hands on his mother's stomach, crying and praying with my hands. That is a child who was anointed by the tears of his grandmother. All 4 of my grandchildren have been held in my arms. And were anointed by the tears of this grandmother. So, I have a Father in heaven. Holy is your name. The first commandment. The first commandment in Exodus chapter 20. I'm not looking at it, I'm looking at Galatians. It's not pride, it's not arrogance. It is knowing and watching and not being able to hold my joy, my inspiration, my muse. It's not narcissistic. It's not ego. I'm a human. But Galatians chapter 1. Grief over erroneous teachings in the church. My therapist keeps saying, you're grieving. Of course. Yeah. Aren't we supposed to grieve our Father's heart? I don't think we're supposed to. But if you know your Father's heart and you see I'm not talking about my Father on earth, because my Father on earth is a human being having a spiritual experience, or a spiritual being having a human experience, and none of us are going to live forever. Maybe some folks need to read some Galatians.